As world leaders gathered inside the United Nations in New York, the streets outside carried their own message. Protesters filled the avenues for human rights in China, for political prisoners in Angola, and yet it was Gaza that rose above all.
I'm afraid of my conscience. If I don't do this, can I sleep at night? Can I look at my children in their face and tell them I did nothing?
Many who marched said their duty stretched beyond Gaza, to Sudan, and to every place where lives are caught in conflict.
When Africa calls, when Africa calls, when Africa calls, when Sudan calls.
We're out here for Sudan, but particularly we understand Sudan to be a crisis of imperialism, not just simply one of the worst humanitarian crises in the world right now, but yet another expression of the struggle that the world has against imperialism in general. Over here in this corner, there are people picketing not only for Sudan, but for Palestine, and for all of the oppressed nations of the world.
We're trying to bring it to the conscience of at least these people that should know that this is genocide, but as you can see, the security all around to protect the war criminal, Netanyahu.
In Manhattan, pro-Palestinian voices formed the majority. Counter-protesters stood firm for Israel, some casting opponents as Nazis.
It's just a mask for another Nazi invasion.
Be a Nazi.
Who's the Nazi?
The guy who is holding the keffiyeh, or wearing the keffiyeh. I think that they should be productive members of society, and they should know that at this point, almost 2 years into the war, all of their protesting has absolutely done nothing for the people of Gaza, and the majority of aid that they've donated has been stolen by Hamas, and if they really want to help, I think they should urge Hamas to release the hostages, end this war, and have safety for all people in the region.
Do you believe that there is a genocide in Gaza?
Absolutely not.
You don't believe there's a genocide?
No, there's not.
How about the UN's findings of the ICJ?
The UN is a crock of BS. We've known that for a very long time, but they're not an international court. They've been going after Israel for many years. They're not really valid.
The demonstrations were broad, impassioned, and largely peaceful, though moments of tension revealed the depth of division. Even within New York's Jewish community, the fault lines ran deep.
Jews come together and join the protest and say that this is not in our name, we don't support it, and we are against what's happening, and we're against the whole occupation of the state of Israel. It is a crime. What's happening there is unfortunate, and not only unfortunate, it's a genocide.
The debate reached beyond America's streets. In New York, Colombian President Gustavo Petro condemned Israel from the UN floor and at a rally. He soon saw his US visa revoked. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa drew on his country's history, insisting that just as apartheid ended, so too would Gaza's oppression.
In the end, it is very much like what the apartheid government did. It was resolution after resolution after resolution that came to the United Nations, but in the end, the chickens did come home to roost. The apartheid system had to come to an end, and even the atrocities that are being committed in Gaza will and must come to an end. The coalition that is now building against what Israel is doing and in favor of finding a solution, particularly a two-state solution and calling for a ceasefire, will gain traction, and it will become a reality. And history will judge them very harshly. The legacy that they leave for their children and grandchildren is going to be a heavy and a very negative legacy.
This is why we speak of the violence and aggression visited upon innocent civilians in Gaza, the illegal attack on Qatar, and the tensions that scar the wider region. It is not only because of the culture of impunity that makes such acts intolerable, but because our own bitter experience has taught us that such violence never ends where it begins. We do not believe that the sanctity of human life should be trapped in the corridors of endless debate. That is why we say, without stuttering and without doubt, that a two-state solution remains the most dignified path to lasting peace for the people of Palestine. For too long, this community has borne the weight of moral conflict. For too long, we have been caught in the crossfire of violence that offends the conscience of humanity. We come not as partisans, but as peacemakers. We come as brothers and sisters of a shared wall, a wall that must never reduce the right to live into the currency of devious politics. The people of Palestine are not collateral damage in a civilization searching for order.
From the halls of diplomacy to the crowded avenues of New York, the struggle over Gaza has become more than a single conflict. It has become a mirror, reflecting the fractures of our world and the choices that will define this moment in history. The cries are clear, but the path forward is not. The world is watching, and history will judge what is done next. Adesua Giwal Sage, Arise News, New York.